and maybe even people break down and not know how to cope with things. So it's good to have a direction to point people to that's a vision, that's a positive vision, that's solution-oriented. I know you were playing before on your program some stuff from Martin Luther King, and one of the things I wanted to note about that is that to pay attention to that he says his famous speech is, "I have a dream." And that's motivated so many people when he's talked about a dream for a different world, for a changed world, because people could get that as he was talking about it, they could see it and they wanted it too. And he didn't get up there and say, "I have a nonprofit organization and I want you to become a member." He said, "I have a dream, and I have a vision that I want you to share." So I think that's really the goal of what we're doing when we say activism. It's not about even numbers. It's about planting seeds, but getting people to share in the vision so that some of these things that are false that we hold on to will start falling away. We'll start to realize they're not really worth it. They don't really mean anything. So let's stop pretending in this game.
You've got a great train of thought here, and I don't want you to lose that. We've got a caller on the switchboard, and I don't want to lose them. Caller from the 253 area code, you are on the air.
Hi guys, it's me, Mel. Hi guys,
hey,
999.
Mel. Hey, glad you could join us. All right.
Hi, Mel.
Hi, Jen. I don't know how to follow that. She hit everything right on target. You know, there's so many roadblocks to our communication that I finally came to realize that the biggest roadblock is us. We are our own roadblock. And what I've come to learn is that the only way to actually get an understanding of that person is to use the Socratic method of debate by asking questions. And a lot of times, most people end up either becoming frustrated with their own point of view, or they start to question their point of view, and you can see the look in their eye when it happens. But it's all about approaching them in a manner where you avoid any type of criticism of their beliefs. Because the minute you put them on the defensive, they've already shut down their openness and they put their filters in front of them. So whatever's coming through is only going to appeal to, or they're only going to allow what to come through what appeals to them in their world. So what we need to do is realize
disarm them.
Absolutely, disarm them. But yeah, I'm here for your questions, and I'll be happy to talk to you about some of the things I've done. And right now, the Washington chapter is actually growing. We've got 101 members right now that are registered with over 200 subscribers, and our sub-chapters are beginning to grow. We're having people popping up all over the place that want to build their own websites and start growing their community locally, which is so inspiring to me. It just, it just shows that this is actually working.
Yeah, that is really excellent news there for your chapter. And just to be clear, that is Washington, the state, not Washington District of...
Not the D.C., not the country.
Not the corporation, you mean?
Exactly. Well, country, corporation, what's the difference anymore?
Okay. Jen, did you want to finish with that train of thought?
I agree with everything Mel said. I think often we are our own roadblocks because we know in our mind everything makes sense to us. We're right? So we want to share our ideas and we get very excited about that. But it really just can be a conversation and not about trying to, shift somebody's perspective, to your view in that exchange. It can just be about sharing ideas. And, these ideas make sense. They're logical. And one of the things that, he was talking about is, well, let me back up a little bit. One of the things while Mel was talking that I thought it is important to expand on is that ideas are not changed by will or by force. They are changed by other ideas. That sort of comes from a quote from somebody that I like a lot, Maxwell Maltz, but I think of that when I'm dealing with other people to realize that it needs to make sense within their own worldview first. So sometimes that's a piece at a time. Because you have to put something, you can't just take something away without replacing it with something that fits for them, to have it work for them. So that's why when I talk about learning the person's worldview, starting within it and then expanding on it, so taking a legitimate interest in that person, even from an educational standpoint, so every exchange you have with somebody is going to inform you in some way. A lot of times it's going to give you more information for dealing with other people in the future. So take it all in. Absorb what they have to say. Really listen to their point of view, because I know that I'm much more it's easy for me to be persuaded by somebody who I feel is legitimately listening to me and hearing what I'm saying, as opposed to somebody who's just talking at me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I find that I get the most response from somebody by just keeping my mouth shut and looking them in the eye, because there's a lot of things that we really don't pay attention to about ourselves. I think it would behoove everybody in the movement to, take a look at some of the methods. Go to Wikipedia, read about the Socratic method, practice it, and maybe at that point you can learn about yourself as well. And that's one of the key things too, because talking to some people and listening to some of their arguments, I have to step back and say, okay, wait, I don't have an answer for that. And if I answer unsure, then I've weakened my argument. The best answer you can give to people most of the time is just to say, I don't know, but I would like to know the answer to that, wouldn't you? Let's see if we can find out the truth. So if two people are searching for the truth, come to the same conclusion, then they can start walking together on that path to finding out more truths. In fact, those are the things that are going to help make this movement much more solid, because we will be able to open up our minds and incorporate some of the things that we might be missing. There's some brilliant minds out there who we need to allow to have time to give us the information, because we don't have all the answers. And we have to admit that right up front, because the minute we start talking about, we know how to save the world, then the first thing they're going to do is think that we are the new cult. And if there's one thing we're not, is a cult. This has nothing to do with blood sacrifices or anything. This is purely an intelligent gathering of people. And, I think people see that. Not only that, I find myself growing in intellect just from the knowledge I've desired to look for. And the more you desire to look for that, the more you're going to want to look. And it just compounds itself. Next thing you know, you're hearing things from a different point of view. And then you'll be sitting in a restaurant listening to some guy talking about, how much money he's going to make on this deal, how many people he's going to screw over to get that, and how proud he is of himself he is. And your whole perspective and your whole attitude, there's something inside of you that explodes with information, thinking, oh, wow, this is the guy that is helping to perpetuate the starvation of innocence in Africa or even in our own nation. And you think, okay, how do I get that point across to him without making him defensive, and so on and so forth. And a lot of times I have to just sit down, shut up, and then listen to what he has to say. And the big thing is, don't ever attack anybody's beliefs. The minute you have attacked somebody's belief, you've already shut down everything you're trying to attempt to do with these people. So you have to maintain a courteous, respectful attitude towards everybody you talk to.
Okay, had a little bit of dead air there while I was thinking.
That's all right. I can add on to that if you'd like.